Raising a new breed of believers, men and women of integrity, honest, humble, and hardworking, with patience, prudence, and sweet reverence, and committed to charity, making the world a better place for billion at a time. Showing us the pathway to true prosperity, teaching us to invest and save, and commit to self-development to generate wealth that glorifies God, benefit us and humanity, changing the world from where we are, 1 billion years at a time. Changing the world from where we are, 1 billion years at a time. Making the world a better place, 1 billion years at a time.
Thank you very much. You can have your seat. Making the world a better place, 1 billionaire at a time. Being here, you're already in the race. As I've said, the Almighty God knows you have the billion in you. That's why He has brought you here. Sorry. Please, everybody should put our phone to. As I said, the Almighty God knows you have the billionaire seed in you. So you have to plant that seed. Then very soon, the billions will start to come. Don't give up. Maybe as if for now, it's the few thousands that are there. One of the richest men, the owner of Virgin Atlantic, said the millions we're looking for are in the pounds we're throwing away. The pence we're throwing away is in the. So the little money you have with you is the seed of that billion. Keep it, nurture it, and very soon the billions will come knocking. The rule is don't give up. What do I say? Don't give up. You're already in the league. Never give up. At worst, you start all over again, but never give up. The game of success and happiness have rules, and those are the rules we are told here every time we come. Just follow those rules. They're like the rule of gravity, the rule of physics. You cannot break them. If you follow them, they work for your good. If you don't follow them, they work against you. Let's pay the price. Little price, little success. No price, no success. Great price, great success. Let's go for the billions. So let's stay later. You don't need it. There are a lot of people that need it around you. So because of them, go for it. And very soon, you'll be happy you do. And sometimes you fail. Failure is part of the success. The only person that never failed at all is the person that never tried anything. Hello? There was a story I had. I like watching football a lot. They were asking how many free kicks somebody has scored. When they mentioned number, it was so big. But when they tell us how many free kicks he has tried, so I think it was like times 20 of what he has scored. So what he's telling us that he took if you are not taking those shots, you won't have scored those goals. So please, the billions, we have to go for them. And it takes what going out of our comfort zone. So today we started, it's an amazing year already. We started from December. Our president was here. He gave us the plan for this 2025. Some of us wrote some figures down, very wonderful figures. January, we are told about, remember, we started January about affirmation. Move from affirmation to mindset changing, because the most important thing is the mindset. Mainly the mindset is right, everything will do what? Will fall into places. Then after that, last time we were told about how to scale our business, because we are going to talk of billions. You have to scale. Then today we have another topic, very important one, about team building. So you can see we're building a block for those billions to come in. And you have to just be patient. The time will come. Abi, it's better we're busy doing something focused. Gradually, the few man have gone now. We have finished the first quarter of the year. And sometimes, if I think most of us have checked our scores, you've checked how far you have gone. At least when I check it, at least compared to last year, it was better. Of course, I couldn't meet all what I wanted, but I was not discouraged. I told myself, I'm going again for the Q2. I'm going to be better. The same thing I want us to do. Don't let's stop short of where we started from. And very soon we will smile by December when we come and give testimony. So we need three people to just at least, because it's very important, because some people don't know whether this thing work. Hello? I've seen people that ask, they say, I've been coming here for the past 4 5 years, nothing have changed. Nothing will change until you change. The problem is not the principles. The principles works. They're like law of gravity. They don't change. If I throw my phone off, what happens to it? Whether I throw iPhone phone or I throw techno phone, because gravity must break it down. It's the principles, it doesn't change. You now depend on you to align yourself with the principle. But when people come out to give testimony, and I gave my own testimony at the beginning of this year, that have been coming before I was not committed. 2023, I just told myself, I need to do something. 2024, 2025, I have to start. Now the momentum is gathering. And if something tell me, Bola, I wish I fell you. I say, no, anytime you start, it's the time. Just that you must keep moving. And I've decided nothing will make me not to move forward. And I want to encourage all of us to, no matter how, whether we felt bad for not starting early or whatever, this time is the best time. And the time is just right. As my friend will say, when I say not yet, and that's it, I love that. If you say, have you done this? Not yet, because it's going to do it. Not yet means that probably it doesn't have the billions now, but they are going to come at a time. So please, I need 2 or 3 people to just share their own testimony with us, so that people that are just coming or people that are not committed, because I don't want us to waste too much time. I'm giving my own example. When I was coming, should I join them or continue what I was doing? And when you continue what you were doing before, you continue to see what you were seeing before. You have to, if what you are seeing is not what you want to see, then you have to pause. Join us in the path to love, abundance, and success. So I want to know who are the people, which of you are the ones to share one or two with us. Thank you very much. Let's clap for you.
My name is Olajumoke. I first of all want to thank God for the privilege to join this wonderful group. No, I'm happy today because one of my friends is here. Last week I told us last time I will be bringing some of my friends, and they had to travel down from Akure and was just coming this morning, just prepared. Because the importance is, if you appreciate something, you won't be afraid of letting people to the group. And what I've seen is that the first thing I first learned in this group is that when I met our mentor, and the first thing I first did was to get most of his books. And when I started reading all those books, and I realized that There is no, you cannot get much from what you are getting in the class until you study most of these books. Our mentor's book and it's not they are not books like every other book. I read a lot of books and I know when I read books. Especially this morning, I was just reading this what I would tell my children how to make great life. And I said, I called it, I told some of I was supposed to bring two people this morning, but he said that he is traveling down from Akure to make sure he ensure. And not that I just told them, come. They saw what I am getting here in my life. Not that I forced them to come. It's different for when you tell somebody, just come. How can somebody travel all the way from Akure down to Lagos if he had not seen the fruits of that thing in your life personally? So in fact, when we were about coming in, his wife from UK called him that he said he's the one that told him you must be at this meeting, and he had told you. So I just want us to take whatever we are getting here very seriously. I am not a frivolous person when it comes to certain things, but I want to tell you, you have a lot of things. I see a lot of things on Facebook when people say come for business conference for 250. I'm not saying those conferences do not work, but I can tell you that you are getting better things here. Because they will just teach you normal things. You don't have the opportunity to have personal mentoring. I can tell you when you chat our mentor, there was a day I was very surprised. I was going through something, I didn't know, I didn't tell our mentor. I just saw his text, his WhatsApp said, how are you? Not that I told him it was not something, how are you? I just said I should check on you. And how are you doing? It was like I didn't tell him, and I can tell you those are the things, part of the things that you get here. And also, the books I told any of us that don't have, if you don't have his books, I don't know what I can say. Because you will realize that most of the book that he has spent his life, the 30 years that he has been studying money, in the book he wrote it that all he has been studying for past 30 years about money. He had read everything and he put them down. He had summarized everything. So instead of me getting all the book written by Brian Tracy, I have those books. I'm not saying I don't have, but I can tell you have more in Dr. Agbee's books. Most of his books, and even the books how to create a business that drives your assets. Read those books. Read that particular book. You will see a lot of things there. So please, I just said, let me say this word. I just to encourage us. If you have people that you love, bring them. If you love people, bring them. I have some of my friends, my cousin that are business. He also is an entrepreneur. He has a business, and he said he must be here. I always encourage us, please let us bring people. Let us ensure that we expand these people and give people a lot of opportunity to get from this. And I want to appreciate our teachers, especially Dr. Dr. Yusuf and the other people that have been blessing us. And I pray that God will bless you and continue to prosper you. All your effort to prepare the slide to study ahead, because you know that the standard that our mentor that already created, you can't perform below. So you have to do more. And I pray God will reward your effort. Thank you.
A round of applause for him, please. You know what I love about what he said? Hello? He said they saw the results. Results don't lie. There was a time people said the fools, even fools marvel at results. They may not believe it, they may not like you, but they cannot deny your results. That's what we are here for. Let people see that there's a result in your life, and to be easy to invite them. Our mentor always tell us, you want to be talking to people about billions, and you have to get it. Because it's not theory. If you say something you are not passionate, it will be shown in the way you were saying it. When you are passionate, when you have done it, you have tasted it, and you can see the result, it will show your life. And that's what he's telling us. Let's clap for him for once again, because I like him. He's like our mentor. Our mentor go around calling people to come and board this As people are complaining, everybody is complaining, the economy is this, the economy is that. You cannot complain if you know the way it's done. It's like when you have watched a movie before. You will not, you know where you are going. You are not part of the mob. You are forming a team. Mob destroy, team build. So that's what you are trying to. You have a plan for your life. You know which stage you are. You know what your next stage. Your life is calibrated already. When everybody is complaining the economy, as they are complaining the economy is bad, people they brought the Forbes riches. Two Nigerians have joined it again. Hello, the same Nigerians that the same economy in Nigeria. And this guy have joined now. This Transcorp UBA guy. Yeah, you look at have joined now. I mean, those are the people that have 3 billions of dollars. And one thing I've noticed Nigeria hide their money a lot. If you discover a Nigeria worth 10 million, you want times 10 of that. Because you don't want people to come and collect free money from you, so you hide. So if they say Elumelu is worth 2 billion or $2 billion, it's worth up to $10 billion. And that is what, and the same Nigeria we are that people are complaining, please don't join them to complain. Hello? You have to. I always tell my people, no shame, no blame, no blame. Let's find our way. No matter it is, if you come here, you will not be lost. Because you have a grand plan, our mentor have taught us, and they have teachers every time. So today is going to be another wonderful time. I know what any other person have something to say. Thank you. Because I didn't know it.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I have something else to say today, though I have a usual story, but I'm not going to tell you the usual story today. I'm telling you something entirely different. What I will mention today is about affirmation and gratitude. Just what Dr. Bolahan said now. I will start from there. People complain about Nigeria, right? And the same Nigeria that everybody's complaining about is blessing a lot of people.
Yes.
And we hide the blessings, actually. For me, I don't know about you. Nigeria will bless me.
Nigeria will bless. I bless Nigeria will bless me.
No matter what happens in Nigeria, I am blessed every day.
Amen.
With the same country, in the same country. So my talk today is about affirmation and gratitude. Affirmation and gratitude. I knew about affirmation before I got to 110, but I would say I didn't know how to use it. I know about gratitude. I'm a Muslim, and I believe that God says that if you thank me for what I have done for you, right, I will give you more. And I believe it also happens in Christianity, right? So, as for gratitude, if you are grateful, you will receive more. At times, if you ask me, you don't even need to pray. Just go, they say go to God in thanksgiving, Abi. Just keep thanking Him for everything He has done. Honestly, try and sit down every day. Our president said something, that at the end of every day, he writes down the reasons he is grateful for the day. Trust me, by the time you are done, you won't remember what you want to ask God for. Because we are supposed to be grateful for everything. You cross roads. Do you know when people want to jump? Some people are in their house, and death came to meet them. Are you a superhuman for escaping all those things? You travel from here to there and fly aeroplane, go with train, go by car and everything. Are you the one keeping you? Gratitude is extremely important. For you having a roof over your head, for you being able to eat every day, for having what to wear, for breathing, for even being healthy. You are not in the hospital. If you want to appreciate God, please try once in a while. Visit the hospital, visit the orphanage, and visit prison. I have been to the prison so many times to visit them. And one lesson I learned is that there are some people inside that place. if you hear what brought them there, honestly speaking, you will go back home and be grateful. What they are not supposed to be there for. People walking on the street and they arrested them, but nobody knows where they are, talk less of being bailed. How special are you to escape such? Somebody just entered Danfo and a particular person there, police was tracing, was inside the same Danfo with the person. And while the police were coming, the person dropped that substance just by the guy. Nobody knows where he is, so they can't even trace him, talk less of go and bail him. In his family, they are looking for him. He is where he is. It is by the grace of God that he eventually got bail. So please, we need to visit those three places once in a while, and then you appreciate God. And please, when going, try and be going with your children so that they will also learn that they are enjoying. That's by the side. Affirmation. I learned how to use affirmation right here. Affirmation tells us that, let me explain it in my own language. Affirmation is calling what you want into being. As in, you're telling yourself that this is mine already. With God on our side. Right? That is affirmation. Do you know what I discovered with affirmation? The moment you start to affirm on something, that thing comes to pass. No matter how. Because different things. I said the God factor, very important. Because you are calling it to being, God is stamping it for you. That's number one. Number two, you are putting it in your subconscious already. And because of that, so many things that will make that thing work for you, for it to come to pass, will start to happen. And then your eyes are being opened. Because a lot of times it's just that our eyes are not being opened to what we need to do. Or we are not even opening our brains. Or you even have that thing beside you, but you are not seeing it. So when you are practicing all this affirmation and gratitude, trust me, it is like everything starts to fall in place. So today, let's do better with our affirmation and gratitude. My main lesson from here. Thank you.
It now brought me to something that happened. We say the same thing, no complaint, no criticism. So there's no need of complain about the Nigeria economy. I learned this in 2017, I cannot forget. 2017 when I started coming here. I will never forget. My business would have collapsed, not that I came here. And then our president now told us something that is what you say that you see. So of course, since he knows better, my own business is crumbling. His own business is doing well. And they tell me something. If you have sense, who do I believe? So I went to my people and said, well, let's start saying we're going to survive despite the fact that when our business it has to do with all these marine people. And that time you knew that Millie Jonathan was about to go or left. The new people didn't even want to say anything about marine people. They just crashed that business. And what I'm telling you, the few of us that hold up to decide doing affirmation, everything, the business type surviving. So please don't let anybody rain in your parade. It's your life. Tell it how you want it to be, and it will listen to you. Thank you very much, ma, for that. The affirmation, we've heard a lot of affirmation. Please, you have to do it. Gratitude, please. And all anybody here that want to sell his eye, so give you $1 million and then go and sell it. Nobody can see you worth more than $1 million. Hello? You want me? Just count what you have in your body. How much you sell your eye? How much you sell your working and how much you sell it? Then you mean that you are very valuable. And go and thank God for it. And because you thank God for what you have now, the Holy books tell us that whatever you are looking for will come with time. So thank God for the thousands you have in your account. Thank God for the few millions. Very soon, the mega billions will find their way to your account. So we've had an amazing time today, and we've not just started. We are having a beautiful topic today that is one of the things we are building a world-class team. And a lot of things you want to do, you cannot do it yourself. You need a team. I was saying that if you don't get a team, you get a mob. What do mobs do? They destroy. Team build. So today our teacher is well prepared. He's going to tell us difference between, if you have a mob already, you always complain about them, how to move them, because it's still part of the system. You move them from being a mob to a team. Then all of you can build something magnificent together. So I will hand over to. Thank you very much. Thank you. I thought it was
This time around, I have to wait because I can't say it without. Good afternoon once again. 110 Academy is very blessed. We are so blessed here that, in fact, I can't explain. So we have somebody that is coming to teach us today. She is a professional in all ramifications. Her name is Olajumoke Caxton-Martins. She's a lawyer, a Nigerian Bar Association Women's Forum mentor, and a business management consultant. She holds a degree in international trade and investment law in Africa, certificates in philanthropy and business skills competency. She's a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers in Nigeria with 8 years cognate banking experience. Wow. She's an associate trainer in the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, a professional mentor and coach with the Chartered Institute of Mentoring and Coach in Nigeria, and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants in Nigeria. This is intimidating if you ask me. She teaches live application skills through our training outfit, Life Mastery Academy, and a video blog on YouTube. Okay, you are going to give us that YouTube link because some of us want to learn more. She's a public speaker and she runs a productivity coaching program for women called Dream Catchers. She's also a published author and delights in coaching intending writers. Say one of your students here. And she delights in coaching intending writers from conception to publication. She presently serves as the Group Managing Director of the Abib Olamitoye Group of Companies. Please join me to welcome and appreciate Mrs. Olajumoke Caxton-Martins.
Thank you very much. Please sit. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to be here today. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf, for the honor of talking to your people today. Please, if you have an empty seat in front of you, please fill it so that those who come in will not distract us while the session is ongoing. Let the spaces be at the back. Today, like we were told, we're talking, and we can see, we're talking about building a world-class team. We're going to be talking about how we can find the people that will be in the team, how we get to keep the best talents that we find, and also leadership strategies. We have a number of quotes here that talk about what you can do with a team. There's a saying that is particularly common, I'm sure I've heard it here from Dr. Yusuf before. If you want to go fast, you go alone. So what does it mean? That I heard it here, so you know it better than me. If you want to go far, you go with people. And we can always start by saying that if your dream is something you can execute by yourself, then it's not big enough. You know, if the solution you are providing, when we're talking about scaling, if the solution you're providing is anchored on you and you have to be there, then you actually do not even have a business model you can scale. So what makes what you are doing worthwhile, big enough, worth your time and your setting goals for? Is it being big enough for you to need other people to help you execute it? Ray Hoffman was the one that says, no matter how brilliant your mind or strategy is, if you are playing a solo game, you will always lose out to a team. That there is only so much one person can do. And nobody, I've not met anybody that has more than 24 hours in a day. You have finite time, you have finite resources. So you cannot do it alone. When somebody has other people helping out, the person will definitely go further. Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. But I like this quote by an unknown person that says that building a strong team is like building a strong house. You need to start with a solid foundation and then add the right pieces in the right place at the right time. Talking about building a team for your organization, this automatically lets you know that the solid foundation is you. So if there's anything defective in your perception of the goal in itself in the first place, then you might not be able to carry people along. You might not be able to add things. We are familiar with the way skyscrapers are built. It's not the same way bungalows are built. So if you're building a bungalow, you just put some cement and then you can go. But if you're building a skyscraper, it was when a skyscraper was being built that I first started of piling. There's so much you have to do in the foundation. There's so much vision you have to have. There's so much detail you have to write out of the things you want to achieve with what you are doing. So much goes into the foundation. And then as you go along, you begin to add the right pieces. But part of that foundation is having an organogram that helps you even create a pictorial representation of what you're trying to achieve. Being able to say that this is where this would fit in. Being able to say that these are the roles we need to fill. These are the people we need to have. Even when you are doing it alone, being able to outline exactly what you do for the future when somebody else will be doing it. So even if it's a solo person, you do procurement is different. You are customer service is different. You know that you are servicing those who come with complaints. You put that in a different arm. If you can identify the different things you do, then you will know where the pieces fit in as you go along. So we have some data on excellent teams. I was already interested in listening to his perspective when he started talking about the difference between a mob and a team. The mob is always fighting. They don't really know who goes where. You feel the punch, you don't know who threw it, when you're facing a mob. But when you not just have a team, but you have an effective team where everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, you are going to have a high performance team because there's no waste of time or resources. Everybody is precise in what they're doing. So what happens when you have that type of team? Companies with high performance teams experience 21% higher profitability. That means they're ahead of the competition. 17% higher productivity and 15% higher employee engagement. They are more profitable, they produce more, and the employees are happier, they are engaged, they know what they are doing. Teams that are well managed and engaged. This now puts I was going to say onus, and I remember that is a legal term. It puts the burden of managing and getting them to perform well on the manager. But when they are well managed and well engaged, they can outperform their peers by 147%. Now, 100% outperformance is double the results. So when it's 147%, it's more than double. So if you manage your team well, their productivity can be more than double that of the people that do exactly the same thing they do somewhere else. High-performing teams are 2.5 times more likely to exceed performance expectations, which is exactly what that other statistic said, and 2.2 times more likely to be innovative, and 1.8 times more likely to be agile. Very recently, I attended a training where I was taught the difference between creativity and innovation, and everywhere I've gone, I must say it. So please, let me teach you too. So when I saw 2 times more likely to be innovative, I remembered that the person taught me that creativity is being able to come up with something new. Innovation is being able to come up with something new with commercial value. Creativity is being able to come up with something new. Innovation is being able to come up with something new with commercial value. So your staff are 2.2 times more likely to be innovative. That means they are not just going to come up with a new decoration for our front office. They are going to come up with a way of welcoming the customer that makes them spend more. Because they are coming up with products or tweaking of your products or services in a way that the people that patronize you are going to be more committed to leaving money with you. And that is innovation. That's the difference between just, it's possible to be moving around and not going anywhere. So when you ask your staff for ideas and they should tell us what we can do better, they can give you ideas that will not bring in money. But if they are well managed, if they are high performing teams, if you are sitting on it, if you attended this seminar, you should be able to get them to bring ideas that will give you the kind of increase in profitability that you seek. And of course, 1.8 times more likely to be agile. Being agile just means being adaptable, being able to change with the times, being able to stay on top of trends and know exactly what is going on. Now, what we are learning today is how to make sure that the teams we have already are high performance teams. I'm not afraid of your questions. I have people that lead teams in the room. And so I'm sure that they have experienced most of the things you have experienced. I also lead about 7 different teams in different organizations that I will be using as examples today. I like this because it's what we do regularly on a daily basis. So the examples are going to come straight from our organization. So what are the benefits? We've already mentioned a lot of the benefits. Increased productivity. Increased productivity means when we learned division of labor in secondary school, we realized that if we divide up the work, we get more done faster. So if you have a highly effective team and everybody understands their roles, they can actually cover more ground than before. And so you have increased productivity. I'm differentiating it from increased profitability. That's why I'm taking the pains to explain productivity. Increased innovation, we've talked about innovation. We get to find out more ways to get people committed because they own the vision. And they are also thinking of how to make sure that they're delivering value and earning more. Higher job satisfaction. I have found out that people actually leave what they do, they leave their job, not necessarily because of the pay, or because of how they feel. We talk about staff, team members being internal customers. And we have always said in this academy that every customer is looking for 2 things. 1, a solution to their problem. 2, good feelings. So high performance teams have high job satisfaction. And that means that because of the way their team is handled, they feel good about working where they are working. Now, people who feel good about working where they are working, you can have a conversation with them, to tell them that we want to invest in something, and so we won't pay you so much this month, and they won't have a problem with it. Because they're getting something from what they're doing that they cannot quantify with money. And that's why it's good to have highly engaged people, because they're satisfied with their job, they're committed to the vision, and they don't mind going through rough patches with the company. They're just happy doing what they do. Consistently high employee morale. Even when you are low, when you see your team members, you have private jokes, you have personal things linking you together, your morale is high permanently. Your manager comes in, you guys have a slogan, you shout at each other. Once somebody starts, the other person picks up. And whether you like it or not, you actually fall into the spirit of the house. There's a way we do meetings in all our organizations every morning, that quick 5-minute stand-up meeting. We go over what we call our core values. Our core values are about 4 in number, but the values we talk about every morning are about 15. We just pick one to talk about. And when we are done, we ask ourselves some questions, and it becomes a chant. What's our goal for the day? The people answer what the goal is. And then, okay, so can we achieve it? Oh, yes, we are achieving it already. Even if you did not feel like achieving it that day. They have already charged you up. You have said it. You have spoken it to your own hearing. Your spirit has been convinced that you can do it. And then you hit the floor running. So it helps boost the morale. When you have those kind of principles we're talking about today in place in your organization, it helps people feel keyed in to the vision, especially when it's repeated very often. And what would that do to you? You have low staff turnover because if they are satisfied, their morale is high, they are getting benefits, that is no money. And they know they won't get it anywhere else. They will get money anywhere else. People can come with better financial deals, but they will take the lower pay cuts because they know that here I will get things that money cannot buy. Of course, naturally, all these things we are talking about will lead to higher performance. So this is why we are having this conversation. Now the conversation proper is about to start. If you don't have a jotter, please use your phone notes. We want to talk about recruitment strategies first. So before you put together the team, you have to find the team members. You should not inherit your team members. As a matter of fact, when you are starting off, it's not ideal to start off with the team members you have by force. You know the team members you have by force? Those are the people you were born with. You didn't have a choice. Nobody consulted you if you wanted these particular team members. They are part and parcel of your team. I don't know about you, but me, I know the people in my family that I cannot do business with. And I cannot even put them in charge of my business because they will be in danger. You know, so when you need to put together a team, it's better to select based on what you want. Now, I did not know if I should put the employer brand first or the ideal candidates because they go hand in hand. The foundation for everything you are doing is defining what you want. The first question everybody needs to answer is, what do you want? What do you want to achieve with your business? How far do you want it to go? Who are the customers you want to serve? What problem are you solving? How are you solving it? For how many people? Where? When? How? Those are the questions you need to answer. If you answer those questions satisfactorily, you would have defined your brand. You would have known what your culture would have to be. What are the values that you hold in high esteem? What's your mission? What's your vision? What are you trying to achieve exactly? Now, when I was mentioning that foundation on which you build all the other parts, I also mentioned that you identify the roles you have to fill. You identify the work there is to be done and what each person that is doing it is required to do. When you know what the person you want to recruit is required to do, it will be easy for you to itemize. What skills does this person need to have? What qualifications do they need to have? What cultural fit? Knowing the culture of the organization, will this person fit in? Many times when people come in for interviews, the first thing we look at is, do they look like us? You can't know if somebody looks like you if you don't know what you look like. So what exactly is the typical staff of, I would say, Tolu Medical Center or Academy Suites or Ibadan Central Hospital, because that's that image, I know what it looks like. You know, so when somebody walks in that looks like that, I know instantly when I see them that, that's my kind of person. Let's check if everything else is in place. Everything else might have to do with skills. But in 110 Academy, the very first thing we check is the person nice? Because that's a skill. It's not a skill that you can learn. It's not an attribute you inherit. It's either you are nice or you are not nice. You cannot be taught to be nice. And so if the person walks in and the person is not nice, just don't bother. Because they will transfer that unniceness to their colleagues and to your customers. So part of the criteria for your ideal candidate is niceness. However, it depends on the role you need them to fill. If the person has to work with numbers, the person had better have a certificate in accounting or something related to numbers, statistics, talking about qualifications. If you're trying to recruit a chef and the person cannot cook, there will be a problem. So you have to check, do they have the skills you want? The easiest way for that is proficiency certificates. I mean, the accountant would have a certification of their skill in accounting. The chef would have gone to some culinary school or the other that would give them a certificate. But you need to write out, what skills do the people, the roles you want to fill, what skills do the people you want to put in those positions, what do they need to have? What qualifications do they need to have? If you are running a law firm, you can't recruit just anybody. The person has to be a lawyer. So that's part of it. Now you sit down and you write an effective job description. This person you are recruiting, what exactly is the person going to be doing? Many times when writing down the job description, we find out that we have roles that are similar and we might just need one person to do the two things. But if you've never sat down to write down exactly what you want, you might create a front desk officer and then have a customer service officer and then have somebody who is a clerical staff. Meanwhile, those three things, personally, I don't know the difference. Because if you are a they call some people receptionists. What does the person do if it's not customer service? So if you have a receptionist that is different from a customer service officer, you're already doing what is called, or rather, what you need to do is what's called MODA, eliminate waste. Because you are wasting money and you're wasting people. You are wasting their capacity. They cannot be satisfied on the job. That job satisfaction will be elusive because they will be playing solitaire. And solitaire does not put food on the table. They will feel they are not getting better. They will become frustrated on the job because three people are doing the work of one person. Now, that after you have written out what you stand for and what you want, and you have written out who the kind of person, you have drawn a picture of who the kind of person you want to fill your role looks like, and you have written out exactly what the person will be doing when the person joins you, the next thing you need to do is decide how you want to get somebody to fill that role. So we'll look quickly at some ways of getting people, sourcing for candidates for the roles that we want to fill. One that we use a lot where I work is referrals. The people that are working with you already, let them bring people. They know, for example, it is part of your consideration that the people you are recruiting should stay nearby where your office is. Because with what Nigeria is saying, you don't want them to spend 3/4 of whatever they earn on transportation. So if you have already recruited people in the neighborhood, then they know people in the neighborhood that can fit into the picture you have created. So they're in a good position to recommend people. And the same way his friends are seeing his results and they want to come, the people who know them would have been asking them, this fine place you are working, please let's know if there's vacancy. So they already have a wait list of people who like where they work and how they are treated, who want to join the team. So ask the current employees to recommend other people. Now, more than that, we say it all the time at the organizations run by Dr. Abi Bolamide. We do not we do not recruit into management. I'm the only exception. We promote into management. And so, if you have an opening in the organization, the first thing you do is check, is there anybody that is already on the team that can do this thing? If it is not necessary to create a new role, just give the person the responsibility because the person is qualified and maybe you just bump up the person's pay. However, if it is not a role that can be combined, but it's a higher role, you move the qualified person in the organization into that role and you recruit for the feeders so that the person can learn your culture for a while before they can come into higher positions. This is how you do it internally. Now, externally, you post adverts for the position. There are different places. You can post it now. We do WhatsApp. I'm sure you see a lot of flyers from our organizations in the group. We share, all current staff share on their social media. The organizations share on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and you'll be surprised. Every time you share like that, you have an unending number of people who can see it. And so you reach a wider audience that way. More than that, there are professional networks. I know that doctors have groups. I know that my law set in my university has a group. The one in law school has another group. And they're always posting positions for lawyers. So post on industry-specific groups if you require a professional in a particular industry. You can also post on LinkedIn. I don't know how many of us use our LinkedIn profiles, but people are always checking people out when they have positions to fill, especially since you have filled your proficiency. And they don't mind poaching you. They would ask you, what do you have where you are? Okay, we'll add to it, come, because they can see what you can do and how long you have done it. So it's also a good place to check. Twitter, Facebook, you read a wider audience, but the catch of using general social media is you do more work because you now have to sit down and filter and sort because it's everybody that would apply. There was a time when we used to put the salary amount on the flyer. Once you put that kind of flyer out, everybody will apply. The minimum wage is now 80,000 in our organizations, please. And we are saying that NCE can apply. You can be sure that all the teachers will leave the schools. Exactly, because there are schools that are still offering them 35,000 or 40. You are going to get double. Sorry, we are coming. And then you get everybody, and you still have to look for somebody that looks like you. And so you have created more work. So please let that be your last resort. Moving on quickly, after you have sent out your adverts, how do they apply? It's important to make it easy for people to apply for the position. Otherwise, you just wonder why it seems nobody is applying. You have put a signboard outside for 3 weeks, nobody knocks, nobody asks. Maybe people of the qualification you are looking for do not live in the neighborhood. So it might be a function of method. However, how will they apply? Handwritten letter, that is going to make it difficult for somebody who is not around during the day when you're around to apply. So they should be able to send in their application via email. They should be able to fill a Google form, put in their details and attach a file. They should be able to send you an application on WhatsApp or just send their CV. And then when you decide that they are the kind of people you want, you can now take them to the next level. So the first thing is make sure that it is easy for them to apply and streamline the process. Don't make it cumbersome. Don't make it necessary for them to attach 15 different documents before they can apply. The next thing is you sit down with all the applications and you screen. Like I already said, if you receive applications from social media, your work is more because you will see all sorts. As a matter of fact, you can see up to 10 CVs that you know that all of them use the same business center. They're just changing the name. Yes, copies, it's copy and paste. As a matter of fact, none of them went to the schools in the CV. They said we should submit CV. Please let me do one. It's easy to notice when people apply in bulk like that. Even friends, the group of friends, the application will look the same, their CV will look the same, and then you need to sit down and even decipher which one is the original application, which one was the copy. So we all become handwriting experts, and experts at detecting lies when it's time to screen. However, when you're screening, don't forget that you already described what you were looking for. What you screen with is that list. Many of us get sentimental somewhere along the way. You see somebody who went to your primary school or your secondary school and you're already doing parapo without realizing that there's a very, very important skill that the person lacks. So get excited when you see things, but when it's time to decide who you are moving to the next day and who you are not, make sure you stick to your list and not all those extraneous factors. Because the minute you start screening with something that is not a part of your vision, the more likely you are to go astray. Especially when you now begin to take other considerations for recruitment that are not part of the job. For example, you see that the person goes to your church. As a matter of fact, it might be your pastor that will not let you sack the person when the person misbehaves. So those are things you actually want to avoid, so that it will not be the chairman of the old students association that they will send to you when it's time for the person to leave and they don't want you to go ahead with that. So after you have screened, you shortlist and then you invite them for the next stage. The next stage is assessment and selection. For some people, they do the interview before the assessment. For others, they do the assessment before the interviews. Personally, I prefer the assessment before the interview because if I don't need to interview you, I don't want to waste my time. So if you have written the test and When you get to test time, you are told, okay, so the first question for us, if you ever send a candidate to us, you can already tell them, is to rewrite your application. You know what is going to happen? The applications that were written in the business center, they have already cancelled themselves because they do not know what that application looks like. So if you have to rewrite your application and you were not the one that wrote it in the first place, you're already out. And then I think it's as far as low as primary 5 that you learn letter writing. So if you do not know the difference between a formal and an informal letter, I already know which job you can do and which job you cannot do. There are some positions I will not shortlist you for. And so there's no point asking you to come for interview. You are wasting my time. So that's why the assessment is always better. However, there are a lot of things to consider when you are doing assessments. Now, the assessments are different and should be different because there are some assessments that will test proficiency. The assessment somebody that is going to the front desk will write is different from the assessment of somebody that is not customer facing. The assessment of the person facing the customer would put in scenarios that have to do with customers. How do you deal with this? And then they narrate. Even when you're using multiple choice, as a matter of fact, a lot of organizations use GMAT. GMAT is not supposed to make you calculate the maths inside. You are supposed to look at the options and know that the answer is not there, or the answer is there, or the answer is 1 decimal point and not 3 decimal points. I mean, it's not a test of your skill at calculation, it's a test of your IQ. Because with your IQ, you know that if it's 2 plus 2, it cannot be 55 because it's far. You know, and that's why when those assessments are done, they give you a strict timing for it because they think that you should think smart and know of all these answers. It cannot be this. The trick for GMAT for me back then was elimination method. Eliminate the answers it cannot be, and you will find the answer. And so it was easy. I mean, I remember that when I wrote the test, it was a GMAT test for Nokia. I wrote them an essay. It was 33 questions. The 33rd question did not have an answer. And I wrote them an essay on why it didn't have an answer, even though my math was bad. I didn't do any calculations. So it's that easy. Picking up assessments. And there are loads of materials online that you can use. You want to test IQ test assessments. You will get the answer, you will get the question, and you can use it for recruitment purposes. Also, apart from that, you can have practical exercises tailored to meet the role. Sometimes, especially when we're recruiting chefs in the hotels, they get to cook 3 meals. They cook vegetable soup. They cook jollof rice. They cook fried rice. Why? Because jollof rice, by the time you have an idea of concoction, you can get away with jollof rice. But by the time you do not have an idea of fried rice, you will first of all have a problem with how to make it the right color. And then if you are not used to cooking vegetable soup, if the locust bean does not have problem, the salt will have problem, or the palm oil will be swimming on top. From presentation, we can already know who knows how to do it and who doesn't. And the process is monitored. Somebody is watching you do that practical assessment. And so the person watching you is not just watching whether you know how to cook or not, the person is also monitoring if you are into waste, watching if you washed your hands before you started, watching if you asked for head covering before you started. There are a lot of things that go into professional cooking. So if you do not have any of all of those, it's already been noted. And so assessment is not just tests. It can be practical. It can be a test of your proficiency. If you're a carpenter, we can give you wood to shave. Or tell you, oh yeah, use that hammer. By the time you have hammered your hand 3 times, we already know you don't know work. So those are the different ways you can assess. However, you tailor it to the job requirements. For jobs where you require people to just be nice, ask them what would happen if somebody comes in and the person is not nice. By the time they are done explaining how they will send the person back to his father's house, you already know that that's not somebody you want to put in front of your customers. The next thing to do is conduct an interview. Some are behavioral, some are technical. That's why when you're setting up your interview panel, you need to compose the panel very well. There has to be somebody who is going to be working with that person on the panel. There also has to be somebody who knows very well what that person is going to be doing. The person he or she would report to has to be on the panel. And then, of course, naturally, if you have read How to Build a Business That Thrives in Your Absence, you would realize that there has to be a woman on the panel because there are things you will see that you will not see. I did not know before until I started realizing I was seeing things in interviews. Especially things like somebody has a problem with, that's why I don't really like virtual interviews because you might not be able to tell if the person has a problem with the question you just asked all the time. But by the time they cannot no longer look at you and they need to formulate the answer first before they answer you, they can't blame network and turn off camera to compose themselves. Do you understand? You already know that, okay, I've hit a raw nerve. At our organizations, we conduct interviews with exactly the same questions. Why? Because that's the only way to be fair to candidates. If you change the question for A and give B another question, you might just be asking them what they know. However, if you ask everybody the same question, you'll be able to assess, okay, so this one is more intelligent than that one, this one is more proficient than that one, and then they have a level playing ground. It's not good to create a bias before they even get to work. Now, other things you can do is give them case studies, but try to use the same case studies. You must also review the application before the interview. Why? Because there are things they mentioned in their application that you need to interview them about. You need to ask them questions about. Sometimes what is in the application is not even relevant to your role. But immediately you see it, you realize that you have a need for the skill they have in your organization, and it will be a plus for you if you have somebody that is able to do it. For example, you are trying to recruit somebody to wait tables, but the person has a certificate in graphics designing. There was a time I conducted an interview for drivers, and one of the applicants was a content creator. And we are permanently doing jingle, Abi? So automatically, that gives him an edge over every other person that has applied. Not because he's being recruited to drive, but we might just need his help with editing videos, scripting videos, or acting somewhere along the way. So please review before the interview so that you can probe a little bit further to understand how good they are at all these other things. Now, I want to mention the questions we ask because it might help us prepare better for our own interview. I will rush it so that you will probably not write it down. Okay, you listen later on YouTube and write it. Some people have been pausing to write. So the very first question is that you should introduce yourself. Inside that introduction, where you live will be there. By the time you tell us where you live, we know how much transportation cost is and whether you're a good fit in terms of salary versus transportation. The next question is your educational background. By the time you're sharing your educational background, you will actually know the people that went to school and the people that they brought the certificate to meet at home. Because they will either not spell the name right or something will shall happen to indicate that. And then you're asking, do you have your certificate yet? And no, actually, there will be a story behind it. Now, after your educational experience, the next thing is your work experience. A lot of people don't talk about everything they've done. So we explain anything you have ever done in this life, either before you had a certificate or not. We want to hear about it. Sometimes this is where the treasure is. This is where you discover that they have picked up skills along the way that you need. This is where you discover that they have worked in an organization similar to yours, or an organization similar to what you want to be in the future. It might not be where you are now, but it's somebody you can go a long way with. Talking about their previous experience is where you get that. And talking about their previous work experience is where you can now bring out scenarios. Did you ever get the opportunity to handle ABCDE? You ask behavioral questions, case studies, you paint scenarios, and then you can move further with what you are talking about. Now, the next question after that is, what is your philosophy of life? About 80% of the people we ask don't know what we're talking about. They don't even understand what philosophy of life is. So we say, how do you see life? At that point, you get to know the people that will cause problems for you. This is the point where people cry. I'm saying this from experience. How do you see life? Life. In 1962, when my daddy died, at that point, you already know that this person is carrying trauma around. If the person is a sad person, and how do they see life? Life is a life of lesson. Exactly. You don't want them to bring that ogo into your business. There was a particular lady that said, life is a life of second chances. And the people on the panel, we looked at ourselves and we said, we like to get it right the first time. You understand? So how they see life tells you what their perspective of life is. If they have allowed their circumstances to dictate if they are reacting to life and not defining their goals and not pursuing life, this is the point where you find out. This is the point where you find out that the person cannot even fit in, because all of us are forward looking. We leave the things behind and we press towards what we want. So if it is somebody that is stuck in childhood trauma, then easily you can move ahead. Then the final question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Sometimes we change it to 10 years. It just tells you if the person has ambition or a vision. It's difficult to get innovative ideas from people who are not going anywhere. They can be creative with their work, but it will not have commercial value. They will just try to find an easier way to do what they do. They will not be trying to satisfy the customer in a way that will bring value to you. So but they are the candidates now, they are getting smarter. The permanent answer is now, where do you see yourself in 5 years? In management position, but that does not tell me anything about you. It doesn't tell me about your vision for your life. So that I would have to come up with something else to get the truth I want from you. But where you see yourself in 5 years shows your fit with where the company is going. If you have to go to school, we would know, okay, you have aspirations. You have something you are pursuing. Because the people that are not pursuing anything, they will not be driven. They will not have a reason to show up every morning. They are the ones that you shout small like this, though we don't shout. They will turn their backs and walk away. Not even the management. Let customer shout, for how much will be the answer. But the somebody who knows that I want to buy 15 machines, I have money for 12, I need money for 3 more. They know what they are looking for. And so they don't mind the color of the person that is talking to them. They have a goal. So that's the time to know if the person you are dealing with is somebody that has a goal, that has a vision, that has something they are pursuing. So there are some checks. I'll just read out these. To select, make sure you collaborate with the relevant stakeholders. The person you are recruiting is going to be working directly with people. Let them come. Okay, so of those people that came, which one do you like? Which one do you think you can work with? Of course, people can be biased, especially since we said resource internally and they brought the person. So the next thing after they select is you say why. If they cannot give you a cogent, valid reason, then you know that it's an emotional decision and not objective. Also, you must evaluate the candidates on objective predetermined criteria, meaning you have a list of what you want the person to be like. Check why you think the person fits that picture and not, but sometimes you follow your gut instincts. There are sometimes when you will just not be comfortable. Your intuition was created for a reason. If you are just uncomfortable with someone, let the other members of the panel know. I don't know, I'm just uncomfortable. Most times, if there's a problem with that person, you will not be the only person who is uncomfortable. And that's why it's important to have a panel interviewing, not just one person. And it's also important to have an odd-numbered panel. Why? If 3 people out of 5, then we have a decision. But if 1 out of 2 or 2 out of 4, then we are stuck where we were before. So it's better to have an odd panel so that when you need to make a decision, you can put a vote and be able to move on. Also, document the process. That's the only way to make it objective. Why are you recruiting this person instead of that? Write it down. Several times, when it's time to promote, we go back to the documentation for recruitment and check why we recruited the person. Has the person lived up to what we thought when we saw them the very first time? That might be what makes them eligible for promotion. Sometimes they have even done beyond what we thought they would do, and then they can move on to the next level. Now, after you have selected, please check educational qualifications. I remember coming across a lady, someone just hinted at us, asked for her certificates. We did not know why, but okay, please check the file. Is the certificate there? It's not there. Hello, ma, where is your certificate? I'll bring it on Monday. Monday, where is your certificate? Actually, my daddy has gone to print it. So at that point, we realized that they were not collecting it from school, they were printing it. The business center did not open on Saturday. That's why they wouldn't come on Monday. And of course, automatically, you understand that that person does not have a certificate. They need to produce one for, backtracking. Talking about educational background. When we have to deal with people with OND, talking about that experience, I just remembered, there are times when we deal with people that have OND who are going to go for HND, and you're going, why didn't you do your compulsory IT? And they say it's not necessary. Oh yes, it's very common. They go, don't worry, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. But you just mentioned that you want to go back to school. We will sign letter. And how will you sign the letter? As long as we give them a letter, they will let us go. Really. That tells you that that person is already planning fraud before the person enters the organ. They will sign letter for you to, they will bring a letter to you that is not true and give it to you, and you will have to accept the contents. So verify the qualifications. Verify who they worked with. Call the people they worked with in their presence. Dr. Abib Olamisoye would advise you that this person said he worked with you. When they say yes, okay, what is one thing you think I should know about this person? And then the person will talk and tell you what they think you should know. Okay. Then you now ask any other thing? No. What is one thing I should be prepared for? You see, it's that preparation that is the key. Well, the only thing is that he has a tendency to be. When you hear that tendency and it's not something you can cope with, it just tells you that, okay, this referral is not clear. That's when you will hear he has a tendency to arrive late for meetings, but he's good at what he does. It depends on you. If you can handle somebody being late for a meeting, no problem. But some of us get worked up when people are late for meetings, and we will not thrive in that kind of environment. So choose your own heart. Also, request for their consent. You are giving me referees. Can I call them? Let them know you are going to call the numbers they submitted. One thing you should look out for also is when people are dropping referees, and number 1 is their mommy, number 2 is their daddy, and number 3 is their pastor. Reject it. Because those people cannot give an unbiased perspective of that candidate. They have been praying, they have joined their faith together for this job. They are not telling them whether he's a good person. Even if they just finish fighting, the person is the best person in the world where you call. So please avoid relatives. It's easy to find out when you see similar names. Either the maiden name is the same as the name in the referee, or the husband's name is the same. You would see from surnames. And then generally, if it is a pastor in the referee or reverend pastor, is it the pastor of the church you go to? Because they need that tithe. So I will not ask the pastor of the church you go to. I will ask another pastor that you have worked with that is not collecting your tithe, so that that person will not be biased. At least I can assume that the person will tell the truth. But the person that is expecting this tithe will tell me only what you want him to tell me. Always use reputable sources and maintain confidentiality throughout the process. There are times you will find out things you don't even want to tell the person you have found out. Just let them go wisely. So after you have decided and you have checked and everything is fine, make an offer and send it as soon as possible, clearly stating the terms and conditions. Why? That person that came for a job interview, I've seen it happen so much in the last 1 year. That person, between Monday of this week and Monday of next week, the person doesn't want to do this kind of job again. Because things have happened. They have now told them that there's one crypto trading that will deliver miracles in 24 hours, and so they don't want to work again. So if you have an offer to make it. As a matter of fact, don't start the recruitment process unless you are ready to recruit. So if you have an offer to make it and let the person resume as soon as possible. Negotiate salary openly and discuss transparently. Because if you negotiate in private, it is still the accountant that will pay. And the day the accountant is paying, you have started problem in the office. Why? Because the accountant that is paying will not call the person that started work before him. Is a certificate more than your? No. Why are you asking? Nothing. Today is payday. This one that is asking if your certificate is, that means that salary is more than my own. And then there will be infighting. Why is she earning more? Is it the person that introduced her? And then everybody has left what they are supposed to be doing, and they are trying to guess why that person is earning higher. So if anybody has to earn higher than anybody else, have criteria. It's as simple as if you joined us 1 to 2 years ago, this is how much you earn. 3 to 5 years, this is how much you earn. 5 to 10 years, this is how much you earn. Band it. And if you have divided it into bands like that, if you're on 3.5, you can't earn what 4 years earns. Wait to get to 4 years. And then everybody understands the rule. It's not that this is the person that the father loves, and so they will make concessions for him or her. What would happen is you would cause office politics. Everybody will be trying to get on your right side. They have discovered you like amala, everybody will buy amala for you because they want their own pay to increase. Also, communicate clearly what they are required to do next. So this is how to get the people in. The next thing is how to keep them. How to keep them after they join you. Many of us experience high staff turnover, and that's because there are lots of gaps in how we try to retain staff. The first thing is the onboarding process. Before they are fully integrated, let them come in contact with every aspect of the business. If they can circulate around every department to know how it is done, so that when a customer walks in, they won't say, I'm new here, let me go and get you somebody else. They will understand the process, they will understand the procedure. Keep all the information, make it available. If it is possible, develop a staff handbook, such that as soon as they come, their first day of work, they sit down to understand what is expected of them. We'll send the slides, because I see people taking a lot of notes. We'll send the slides once they are done with Abeokuta seminar tomorrow. Employee engagement. Make sure that you always offer feedback and coaching to help them grow and develop. Are they doing well? Tell them. If they are not doing well, tell them. I had a very, very difficult time when Dr. Abid came and said we should stop issuing query. I am the fire brigade kind of person. I want to fire you query if you have done something wrong. And I'm waiting for the third one to tell you to come and be going to your father's house. And then he said, no, you will not issue a query. That day he paid me because I was ready. I was boiling. But I said I will not issue a query. I said, what will I do? He said, you will coach him into doing what you want him to do. The query doesn't really tell him what you expected and you didn't get. And you will file query and response inside file. He will never know what he did wrong. So what to do is sit down with him. This is not what we want. This is what we want. This is not how to do it. This is how to do it. It's only if you have now done it to such an extent that you realize that the person cannot learn. That's when punishment should come in. As a matter of fact, punishment should not be in the office at all. It is correction. If we have read the 1 Minute Manager, there's the pat on the back where you say, you have done well. This, you have done well. The thing is, anything you applaud, they will repeat. So when they do it well, let them know they do it well. And that's why feedback is important. And if they have not done it well, sometimes you might need to take over and do it in their presence so they will see how it's done, or call somebody who does it perfectly to do it in their presence. And the truth is, if you have ever taught children to cook, you know that the first time they make amala for you is cocoa you will eat. So you eat it like that so that they can learn. As a matter of fact, it was in Ibadan yesterday that I heard that part of the reason why a business has sinking funds is to prepare for the mistakes of the employees. It is foolhardy to believe that your employees will never make mistakes. They will make mistakes. Sometimes it will be very costly. Sometimes they will try to put salt inside the soup and the bowl will fall down. Half will pour inside the soup. You cannot serve it like that. You will throw it away and cook another one. Are you going to sack the person because the bowl fell down? No, you will not. So understand that your staff are human beings. They will make mistakes. Prepare for it. And when they make those mistakes, you correct them. Recognition and rewards. Reward. Now, feedback, pat on the back, is different from reward. Reward is, for example, pay for performance. I've worked in a bank, and I know that there's a certain percentage of your income that is tied to how well you do. So if you meet above 75% of your target, you are going to get some additional money for meeting that target. The profit sharing we do also works along those lines. We need to make a certain amount to be able to share profit. And then everybody is driven because they know that if they do well, they will get something for it. Now, it is not always money. It doesn't always have to cost you something. It might be the picture in the reception, start of the month. It might be you calling out their name and telling everybody else to stand up and clap for them. Someone yesterday was mentioning how they give them one certificate saying they have done very well. And then she went to visit her staff at home and met that certificate on the display in their living room. I did very well in my office. It's a thing of pride. You know, we had an award ceremony at our end of year party. And there was a branch where one person got 3 awards. There were 4 awards in total. One person got 3 awards. Automatically, it just tells you that that person is management material. And it cannot be hidden anymore because it was open. How did we do it? We did voting. You all voted for her. You have told us that she's your most valuable resource. So the day she's promoted above you, you cannot complain. You voted for her to tell us that she's better than you. You know, it's a transparent mode. Everybody can see how it went down. But when you reward them like that, what does it get you? It gets you loyalty. These are the things that money cannot buy. Some people will leave places because they said they look down on them. They make them feel they are not good enough. You cannot eat at the table where Oga is eating. That's why some people leave. Someone said Tony Elumelu is catching trips. But you just told us he has entered Forbes list. He's catching trips. He goes to play golf with his people. They will go for karaoke together. They will play on the streets. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter whether you're the cleaner or the driver. He's playing with you. Why won't his organizations make good money? Why won't his own value increase? Because he's making them feel good. Especially if you have now won an award. Your award can be spending a day with him. You that you have all the questions in the world, carry your questions while you're going there. All your problems in this world must finish before it goes. Professional development. Provide opportunities for employees to learn new skills and advance in their careers. The truth is, when they read and they get better, it just means your people are better. You have better people. You can get better people by making the people you have better. Dr. Habib will always say that he does not use people for the job. He uses the job to grow. He doesn't use people to grow the business. He uses the business to grow the people. The truth is, anywhere they go in the world, your name will show. And the glory of how well they do is yours because you trained them that way. So let them grow. Let them get better. Let them learn. There are many free resources. There are many training, learning management systems that have free courses. If you have found a course they can take for free that would help their work get better, then let them take it for free. And when we say let them take it for free, it means you give them 1 hour during work time to take that course for free. They're entitled to 1 hour lunch break anyway, even if it's still that same lunch break they are using to take the course. It means that you're not going to be frowning when they are reading because they're reading. Then let them read. Many times, the coaching we have to do is to provide a book on their area of weakness so that they can read up and get better. There are so many books that are on YouTube. If they cannot read the book, let them listen to the audio book, maximum 2 hours. And then they have covered the entire book you want them to learn from. If it is skills, bring somebody who knows how to do it better to teach them the things they need to learn. It might not cost you as much. As a matter of fact, it might not cost you anything if you leverage on your own personal networks. You have people who know how to do these things that are your friends. Do exchange program. Me, I'll come and teach your people, come and teach my people. And then we move ahead. And everybody gets better along the way. I know that the fear of entrepreneurs is these people we teach. As soon as we finish teaching them, they carry our load and go. Well, the truth is you will add other things that will make your place the best place to work. That's what will keep them, not so much of the skills they've learned from you. Moving on, after keeping them, you now need to lead them well. You'd realize that when we're discussing the data on excellent teams, the middle icon talked about them being well managed. If the manager is not good, the team cannot be good. If they are not well put together, well engaged, if you're not listening to them, then they will not be able to perform well. So what do? You lead by example. One thing I know is that it's difficult for staff to be looking at the clock that they are going home if they know that their boss is somebody who does not even remember to go home. The worst that will happen is they will come and be reminding you, won't you pick the children from school? Now they do it to me in Ibadan. This is the time your children close, so you will not pick them today. Have you called somebody to help you pick them? I just look at the time and go like, okay, you people want to go home, Abby. So if you are doing it, they don't mind. And then the times I say, don't worry about me, go home, they don't go. Because what if I need a file? What if I need a document? And so they stay. But they are staying gladly and willingly. Not that they are now grumbling and then they begin to make mistakes because they are not happy. So lead by example. If you want people to not look at the time, don't look at the time. You can't be the one that leaves at 12 noon and then expect them to stay till 6 p.m. Okay. They will learn how to make you think they are there when they are not. Effective communication, always talk. I realize that people respond better if they understand why. So when we give rules and we say this should be done, this should not be done, there will be some measure of resistance unless you have explained to them that we watched the system, we saw that we have gaps in this area because of this and because of this and this. This is what we have proposed will fill that gap, and that's why we need you to do A, B, C, D, E. And then Dr. Habib insists that after you have explained the why, you ask them one question. Or do you think there's a better way we can do it? If you have created a responsibility that is a burden for someone and they have a better way to do it, it's always better to work smart instead of working hard. And not assume that you have the best knowledge. They might just have ideas that are better than yours. So communicating, letting them know what is going on is the best way to get the best out of them. Another thing is let them do it. So if you have delegated a task to them, allow them to do the task. Don't hijack the task after giving it back to them. They will never learn how to do it totally if you keep doing that, if you keep interfering. You know, I already mentioned that when we were talking about teaching children how to cook. You will first have too much sauce and then too much oil, and then you eat a lot of bumps inside your swallow. But over time, they will get better. However, if you never let them do it and you keep collecting it from them, they will never learn how to do it. Also, foster a positive company culture. Positivity, inclusivity, and respect. All we learn about affirmations is not just about affirmations. It's not when you're speaking to yourself in the morning that you should be positive. It's when you're speaking to yourself all the time. The person who speaks to me the most is me. In your thoughts, you are permanently talking to yourself. So if you are not positive, you'll be sending out negativity to other people. Same thing with your staff members. If they are not being positive all the time, if they don't have an example of positivity to follow, if they do not realize that they are required to be positive, if they are all not saying not yet instead of saying they can't, then you will have to deal with a large level of negativity in the workplace, and that will slow down their effectiveness. Inclusivity means Don't let's work in silos. Don't let's do parapol. Let's involve everybody in what we do. If everybody is involved, everybody understands why. When somebody is not there, everybody else can fit in and help bridge the gap. Respect, it is important. It's extremely important. And it's not about qualification, it's not about age, it's not about how much money you have. Everybody deserves to be respected, everybody deserves to be heard. So no matter who it is, give them that respect. Let them express themselves. And that is the way to get the best out of the people you brought together. Of course, stay adaptable and agile, which is what was demonstrated in that question. Or do you know a better way we can do it? I'm not stuck in my way. I'm not holding on to my idea as the only idea. Let's find out if we can get better results from what you know. So, additional tips, conduct regular employee feedback surveys. At our organizations, what we do is called an idea bank. We distribute questionnaires. Who is working well? What is working well? What is not working? What do we need to do away with? What are we doing that we should do more of? What are the others doing that we are not doing that can earn us more money? You know, by asking those kind of questions in a targeted way, you actually get a lot of responses and results from your people. You get to tap into their knowledge of your organization and of other organizations that you probably don't even know about. So we do it on a quarterly basis. We make sure that our people are giving us consistent feedback on how our system works and how it can work better. Develop a succession plan. This is extremely important, especially for organizations like ours that do not recruit into management, we promote into management. That means that for every person, there's somebody that can do what you do. It's important to make sure that for every role, somebody knows how to do what that person does. Otherwise, the exit of one person will put you all at risk. As a matter of fact, it's a reason for negotiation. So I was trained to be a utility staff when I was in Skybank. And what a utility staff means is that I can do anything that everybody can do. But what that did to me was that it was impossible for me to be transferred. They wanted to move me to a regional office and it became an HR problem. Because if they move me, I'm the only person that can relieve anybody. So when people are going on leave, they will have problems. And so, well, it made me money because from Ibadan, they will bring me to Lagos to relieve people and pay me out of station allowance. But when you are doing that, don't create one solution to all your problems. Make sure that there are multiple people that it paid me that I was the one solution. I don't mind. But you should not do that to your organization. I'll put you at risk. Prioritize their well-being. Support physical, mental, and emotional well-being. The physical is always amplified because many people do health insurance or they get into an arrangement with a hospital where their staff can go. But we don't think of mental and emotional well-being. If I walk into the office and the front desk staff is looking like she's about to cry, that's the end of our work for the day. Because what will happen to the customer? I was on a TV show last week, and some women were saying how women bosses are taken advantage of by their female staff. Their female staff will come and say they have menstrual cramps, they want to go home. Will you tell a man that you have menstrual cramps? No, you don't want him to know. But if it's a woman, you come and tell her that you have menstrual cramps, you want to go home. I was the only person on the panel of women discussing that said she has to go home. Otherwise, my customers are in trouble. She will transfer aggression. Have you experienced PMS before? You probably have not if you're a man. But if you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. When that woman is cranky, I don't want to put her in front of my staff. So I explained that the easy way around it is that is your off. You have gone one day, that is your off. Oh. You will give me back. But don't put my business at risk by putting somebody who is not fit in front of customers. And so the issue came, are we looking for, women, we just finished the Women's Month. Are we looking for equality or equity, because men don't have that special day, but men get the 1 day off. So just swap the off with the 1 day you are giving them, and then we will have equality. But what we are looking for is equity. We are just not there yet in Nigeria, so don't let me start that conversation yet. Celebrate milestones and successes. How many of us do birthday for our staff here? As in, it's your staff's birthday and we come together, we sing, we buy gifts, we eat food. People feel appreciated. Those are the things money cannot buy. People feel appreciated when they know that today is my birthday, and if nothing else happens, something will happen in the office. Those are the reasons why people do not leave. Those are the things people look forward to. It might even just be a letter. I'm aware of an organization where the CEO writes you a letter on your birthday. He will visit your branch on that day because it's your birthday. And so he does a lot of moving around. But they already know that something, it's my birthday, something will happen. I know that I've created a challenge for myself because people are now comparing their birthday gifts. Like, what did she give you? Meaning she loves me more. My own gift is more expensive. So I don't even know how to fix that problem. Maybe we'll fix something standard for everybody. But that's why I'm mentioning this, because it has now become a challenge for me. Have a flat value or a flat gift, something that everybody gets. There are organizations where it's a cake. Everybody is going to get a particular size of cake on their birthday, whether they like it or not. So if that's what you are going to do it. If it's an envelope, more money is always better than no money. So as a matter of fact, be careful with the gifts. You might just give money and they would appreciate it more, but celebrate it. And then talking about well-being, someone asked yesterday if our organizations give paternity leave. Paternity leave. There's maternity leave for the mother. You will not give leave to the father. One day, the naming day. What can he do on that day? Is it that day he needs? As a matter of fact, the day they are in the hospital, he cannot come to work. Exactly. So sometimes we should begin to consider 1 week paternity leave. From the day they give birth to the day of the naming at least. Because even if they come to work, they are not working. Their mind is not here. Don't let them make mistakes. Don't let them scatter your finances from the mistakes they will make. But those are the things we have to consider. Of course, there are businesses that are in their early stages that cannot do this. So we are not saying bite off more than you can chew. But if you leverage on effective communication, your staff would understand that you are with them. As a matter of fact, you can send diapers to the baby. They know that you are in this together. There's communication. They understand why. There's nobody else to fill your gap if you go. And that's why we need you to come. Effective communication can cure the defects that will be created by the lack of resources. But please let them know they are valued and you understand what they're going through. Mental health, please check if they are okay. How are you? The answer is always fine. You might need to check if fine means fine or something else. If you work closely with them, you will know when fine does not really mean fine. So check. And if you are aware that there are issues, follow up. Ask how far. Those are the things that make it worth so much more than the salary. The last one is stay up to date with industry trends. Otherwise, you'll be obsolete. The world is changing every day. If you do not know what obtains, you would suddenly start losing your team to a team that is not doing as well as you, but that knows what obtains. You would see some people jumping, especially the bankers. 1 year they're in one bank, the other year they're in another bank. That's because they know what's going on and they see that some people are forward facing and some people are not growing and they need to jump ship before there's a problem. So stay on top of your game, know what is going on and make sure that you're offering your people the best. So does anybody have any questions? I just looked at the time. I'm sorry. Thank you. Please sit down. Do we have any questions? Yes, sir. If you ask the question, you will answer it.
This is a very wonderful. God bless you. My question is, sometimes you have some staff that have been with you for some time, and the motivation become issue. Probably from the mistake you have made in the past, because you were not as good as you are now. You've learned some things, you made some mistakes in the past, and they still see you as the same person, and the new staff are buying into the vision of the new you, but they still have some questions and are trying to. So that's, as you are saying, you don't want us to go into the area of queries because it's a new way we are looking at. Instead of querying them, can we make sure, is there a way to really help them to, or how, when do you give up on them? That's the question. Thank you. I don't know whether you understand.
Yes, sir. I understand you. Thank you very much, sir. The thing with, I think that this is something we discuss a lot in the academy. If you are growing and the people in your life are not growing, there will be a problem at some point where the way you think and the way they think will not match. It's better if it's staff you can sack. If it's your spouse, you're in trouble. So what to do is to ensure that as you are growing, they are growing. The beautiful thing about having 110 Academy stream live is that as you are here, they can watch. You can then fix a time to discuss the things they've learned. So the books you're reading, when you read something that impacts you, that is going to help you grow, you give them to read as well. I already mentioned that some people are lazy. They don't want to read. Let's find the audiobook they can listen to for 2 hours. But it's important that as you are growing, they grow as well. Otherwise, it is natural that they will reach an elastic limit where they do not fit into the vision anymore. If they are not compatible with the future of your business, what makes you competent is letting them go. Otherwise, you will not be serving your vision the way you should. So at what point do you give up on them? At the point at which, from your assessment, you can tell that where your business is going, they do not fit into that picture. Now, when it comes to correction, somebody is doing something bad and you're correcting the person, you would have to let the person go or issue queries if the person refuses to learn. Not that the person is not being taught, but the person refuses to learn. Of course, that means you are giving several opportunities, trying different teaching methods. You know, some people learn by talking, some people learn by doing, some people learn in pictures. So you would have tried every possible way to teach them. If they now do not learn and adapt, then they'll be drawing back the team and you would have to let them go. Okay, we have someone else.
That was very engaging, man. Thank you so very much. So I actually want to ask. You said something. So when it comes to mental and emotional well-being, I remember there was this GM in one of the Lagos State government agencies that he started a crèche around the agency. He discovered that he had a lot of lactating, is it nursing, right?
Yes,
nursing mothers. And so he decided to have a crèche very close to the agency so that, because he discovered that most of them, they are thinking of their suckling child is still at home and all that, and I believe that's a very, very good one. And of course, talking about paternity leave, I know that, some people believe that you can give them 3 days or 7 days so that, I don't know, I want to ask questions. When it comes to gaps in people's CV, man, is it a trust issue for you, a competence issue? I'm talking about somebody that is supposed to have served. Somehow you discover that the person did not serve. Even if the person proved himself competent during the interview, or will it be a wrong signal for you, or what's that word?
Thank you very much, sir. Apart from crèches nearby, women also need rooms where they can express, just in case they are listening. If their babies are not with them in the building, you have to give them a room where they can express breast milk and keep in bottles, just in case somebody wants to add that to what they offer. But the crèche doesn't have to be in the building. It doesn't have to be by you. You can negotiate with a nearby crèche to give your own workers a discount that gives them peace of mind, where they can go to easily for 5-10 minutes to nurse a baby and come back. I just added that to the conversation. Talking about your question now, which relates to gaps in the CV, well, it has to do with a lot of things. And so there's no one-size-fits-all answer to it. For someone who has not served, do they have an exemption? Or do they not serve? People who go to National Open University don't serve. People who have NCE or OND can't serve. So the thing to do is find out why. I've noticed that the youth now say that they don't want to serve because it costs money. I still don't understand how it costs money because I know you are paid by your organization, you are paid by the government. So the fact that they cannot afford to serve, I don't know, but I hear it a lot. But what helps you determine if it's a trust issue or something else is their reason. Get the why. Now, aside from that, gaps. I've had reason to deal with somebody who had a 10-year gap. What were you doing in those 10 years? You know gaps in CVs, age gap. Now, it could be because the person has falsified their age and cannot do the math. You know when you adjust your age and your primary school certificate is now not matching your secondary school and it's not matching university again. So you need to understand, is it a fraud issue? In which case, it automatically becomes a trust issue. Or I married a man that said I should not work. I've also met somebody like that. And so she now has to work because the children are in university and the bills are not looking like, you understand? But then that gap in the person's experience now becomes relevant to the kind of role the person wants to fill. If it's an entry-level role, no skills required, it might not matter that the person has not done any work in 10 years. However, if the person is going to be handling things, and you even need the person to know trends, you need the person to be able to handle customers, then the person had better not have gaps in their CV. Of course, we understand that there are no jobs out there. And so saying that there's a gap in the CV does not mean that you don't have something to explain that gap. I have met someone who came for an interview with 14 certificates. What happened? There was no job. So she kept taking online courses. And so she brought all the certificates. There are others who go to learn a trade. So if they learn a trade, they will show you that they actually learned a trade and started working, but the money from what they are doing is not enough. So there's a background story that you can check out. That is where the checks are important. So let the person explain the gap. It's the explanation that determines whether you should run or it's something you can fill. Of course, it depends on the role you are trying to fill as well. Okay, sir. I think this should be our last question.
Thank you for having me. What do you do specifically when you have a tech environment where you keep investing in young boys and when they become very senior, that is when they know that like, these other companies are around that time, really?
That is not peculiar to tech, but it is prevalent in tech. Because the more you know, the more valuable you become. The more valuable you are, the more other people want you. However, you have the responsibility to, one, stay competitive. Even though you train them, you have to pay them for the skills they now have. So if your pay is competitive, then they still have to make a decision on whether to go with you or with the other company. If you go ahead and add every other thing we have spoken about, aside from salary, to what you do with them, we're talking welfare, we're talking celebrating them, we're talking caring about their emotional health, we're talking you planning team building activities, going out with your people, taking care, for example, we're talking about crutches nearby, giving paternity leaves. If you do all of that, they have other things to consider aside from the salary. And they also know that then, if they cannot add it up, monetarily. You know, there are times where the money is extremely important. If when they add the bonuses they get, the well-being they get from being with you, it exceeds the money, they won't go. So the first thing is be competitive in pricing their roles. And don't pay them for what they were. You know, when you keep remembering that, was it not just when he finished secondary school, he joined me? You keep thinking secondary school. But you have given him so much training that is now hotkey, and others will not pay him for what he was. They'll be paying him for what he is and what value they think he can add to them. Pay them for the value they can add to you, not their past, but their future.
The question now is that do you then employ people who already have the skill you want to train these other for? Because the ones you are training, they are far cheaper. And at the point they get to that level, of course, you scale them up in salary, correct? I mean, anyway, but not necessarily up to what they're going to get outside. But you have done an
So
investment.
those ones you recruit will get better at your job, and somebody else will offer them higher, and they will go. So it's still better to grow your people than to poach from outside. When you grow your people, they have your culture, they know what you are trying to achieve, unlike the people you are recruiting from outside. So it's better to grow them. Even the ones you recruit, you will have the same problem maximum 6 months down the line. Somebody else will be offering them something higher. So focus on every other thing. Focus on being their go-to. If it's your name they whisper when they are sleeping at night, they won't want to leave you because you're still the one solving all the other problems apart from the work problem. Sir? And you can use a bond, but you would have to get a lawyer to help you enforce it. And so you still spend a lot of that money you don't want to give them, you still spend it.
No, because I found out that even despite that, some of them do, because there's a problem with this Gen Z generation.
They will live with the bond.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I am saying. So just treat them well.
But I mean,
Just treat them well. They will carry the bond and go. You will now go to lawyer, you will go to court, and they will go.
at least you can use it to threaten them now.
No, I tell you.
They don't respond to threats.
It's a waste of your time.
They don't respond to, but I don't mind. You know I'm a lawyer. You know I'm a lawyer. I don't mind. Use bond. I will help you draft it. I'll charge you.
I remember when my wife was in the banking sector, they used it to tie them down.
That's a very big massive organization that can
No, see, now the thing is, with a bank, you need your referral from the last bank. And so even if I don't give you a bond, you know I will not refer you. And if I don't refer you, it's an integrity issue. The next bank won't employ you. So it's industry loyalty. It's because of the industry. Tech, they know you will still live. The person that is employing you is employing you because you will still live in. So they know it's a lifestyle. Thank you very much. You still want to ask another question? Oh, you want to add something?
Yes. Let's learn from footballers. If you have a superstar, there's a star going up, and the coach is telling the superstar secretly, look at that superstar, we are going to replace him. And they sell him for 300 million, young boy. So what we do is that when we're training people, should have successions in plan. They will always leave. They're not leaving, then they are going to leave. When you don't know, you already plan for it so that you don't be left back in.
Thank you so much. I'm done. Thank you.